After a 4-year winless drought, we saw defending champion Josh Mertz extend his points lead with his second win out of 4 races. Marcos Palacio struggled, with the Argentine losing the second spot to Canadian Cody Cosgrove. The defending Supercar Sportsman champion has shown an incredible uptick in speed over the last 2 seasons, and with the short bull ring layout of Atlanta being utilized, the chaos is always around every corner. We wonder what will happen in Georgia? We'll find out together tonight. NASA Rallycross Lites from Atlanta is next. Our venue for this evening is the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. Opened in 1960, North American Simulated Auto Racing started visiting this circuit in 2018C, and this is the first visit of the lights here. 0.68 miles in length with 10 corners in total, 6 to the right and 4 to the left. The lap begins with a touch of the brakes, gliding the car through the slalom of turns 1, 2, and 3. Be wary of the sausage curves at all points. Rounding turn 4, Joker decision on your right-hand side. Over 9 seconds is gained and it spits you out near the grid, bypassing the technical fishbowl. Banked double apex and very inviting. It's nearly impossible to make a pass here cleanly. We'll exit the fishbowl around the sweeper of turn 8, stay close to the wall on driver's left to get the best possible entry into the final 2 corners of turns 9 and 10. After 10, over the jump, past the start-finish line to complete a lap here in Atlanta. Our format for NASA Rallycross is as follows. 17 cars will be split into 4 heat races, 6 laps apiece, Joker lap once. The top 2 will transfer to the feature. Winner gets 3 bonus points and the runner-up gets 2. The rest of our competitors will be funneled into the semifinals. 5 lap races, Joker lap once. The winners will transfer and receive a bonus point. This sets the grid for the 10-car, 10-lap feature race where the points are awarded and trophies are handed out. Unique to NASA Rallycross, 2 Jokers are taken during the feature. The second season of NASA Rallycross Lites continues tonight on the Automotive Sports Network. With Bryan Sawyer in the production truck, my name is Josh Mertz up in the commentary box as we welcome you to Hampton, Georgia. Our coverage all season brought to you by NordVPN. Visit nordvpn.com/ASNTVUSA for up to 63% off a 2-year plan. Also, our cameras for the entire season are provided by TrackCams22.com, and our intro music was produced by our very own Alex Abedi. Coming into today's race in Hampton, Georgia, Josh Mertz has a 13-point lead over Marcos Palacio in the Drivers' Championship after the win last week in Barcelona, Spain. Cody Cosgrove, like I mentioned in the opener, has incredible pace that he's shown over the last couple weeks. He is 3rd in points, 1 point down on Palacio. Bryan Sawyer, 10 down on Cosgrove, the man from Wisconsin, not having the best of luck this season. Matt Grove in 5th in points with 52. Joey Morissette, the second JC Simsport car, sits in 6th. Eric Kaplinger in the 7th spot. 8th, Francois Martel. 9th is Josh Klog. And 10th, Magnus Okenhaug. And Magnus running a partial schedule in lights for JC Simsport, boosting their team's championship odds as the Irish squad sits 2nd in that championship behind TWR Struggle Bus with 154, JC Simsport 148, and Slaypex right behind them at 137. So the team's championship, when it's all 9 cars strong, is beginning to look very spicy this season in lights. Speaking of the team's championship, TWR Struggle Bus led the way in seeding Marcos Palacio at a 37.047, the only car in the .0 bracket. Cody Cosgrove in 2nd for Slaypex, Bryan Sawyer in 3rd. 4th is Magnus Okenhaug, he's the first JC Simsport car. Josh Klog, defending champion Mertz in car number 1, in 6th in seeding, right ahead of his teammate Joey Morissette. Kirtley, Jess Rakowski, Matthew Grove, Eric Dubois, Matthew Basset, Gerald DeFino, Joseph DiGiacomo, Jake Robichaux, Olivier Rateau, and Stephen Moreau. Many new faces this evening here in Atlanta as we are on track gridding for the first heat race here in Hampton, Georgia. And what's unique about this layout compared to the long layout, we still start on the dirt and there's a little bump where the track is cambered for the sweeper. So depending on what line you're in, you will vault the bump and be sent either left or right. So these starts are going to be something to watch all evening long. On track Palacio, on pole position. Middle will be Josh Klog in the 199, Jess Rakowski, Gerald DeFino, and Stephen Moreau. Defending Supercars champion Klog in this race. Palacio super fast. We'll just have to take a look in heat number 1 here in Atlanta. Green flag. Off the line. Even start for the 2 on the inside. Rakowski on the outside. Into the first corner. Klog will take the spot on Palacio. Pinched him to the curb, and the 83 sits in second. Might be a slowdown off the start there. We'll just have to wait and see. Gerald DeFino, Jess Rakowski, and Stephen Moreau in the back of the field. Will we see? Immediately we start talking about it here in Atlanta, and we'll notice. We talked about it in the open. 9-second delta for the Joker. Klog. Palacio thought about it. Klog exits in the 199. DeFino, Rakowski on the inside of DeFino in the 999. Can't make anything happen. Nobody else jokered. Only Klog from Maryland in the 199. And like I mentioned, defending Supercar champion will lead at the end of the first lap. Palacio is second. I think it's going to be a battle for best of the rest in this heat race unless something goes wrong. Just judging by the pace of both of the top 2, especially with Palacio, if he gets clear track like really he has right now, what will happen? If I was Klog, I'd be very worried, but Palacio bypasses the Joker in the 83. And jokering was DeFino in the 845. Nowhere close to Klog in the 199. Clipping the curb in turn 9. Marcos rounds 8, crosses onto the asphalt. And tricky to spot your braking point in that transition. Rounding the final corner for the Argentine. Still no Joker, as Rakowski and Moreau also have not jokered in the 999 and the 420. So we just want to wait and see when Marcos will joker, but Josh Klog looks like he's gapped him. Palacio jokers now. Will we see any rotation? We won't. So Palacio, deep on the brakes, gets oh so close to the back of the 199. I don't think he's going to have anything. We still have cross flags, but it is so hard to pass here in Atlanta. Car length between them. Palacio looks to the inside. Klog's got the run through 1, through 2, through 3. You compromise the entry, and you can kiss that whole sector goodbye. Klog beginning to pull away just slightly. Deeper on the brakes is Marcos. Into the fishbowl. Will Klog open the door? He does not. Marcos was knocking at the door. Couldn't make anything happen. Through the fishbowl, DeFino holds the spot over Rakowski. Rakowski jokers in the 999. This is for best of the rest. And DeFino will comfortably hold this spot over Rakowski. And we talk about it every week, whether it's lights or supercars. You have a better grid spot the higher up you finish. Better grid spot for the semifinal, I should say. 2 laps to go. Marcos clipped the curb in turn 1. His last lap was 4/10 down on Klog in the 199. Into the fishbowl yet again. Klog a little bit off the apex in both corners. Palacio thought about it. No contact between them. Rakowski has caught up to DeFino, as didn't look like she was this close when she exited the Joker. A couple car lengths between them. Into the final couple of corners. DeFino has clipped that curb. The 2 laps that we took a look, he's clipped the curb in the 845. White flag for Klog in the 199. They were even on lap times the last time around. It was a 37.204 to a 37.295 for Palacio. Not missing anything for 3rd and 4th. Into the fishbowl. Palacio into the wall in the 83. So easy to do when you're pushing in this final couple of corners. And I think that is all Josh Klog needed to potentially win this race. Final couple of corners into 9, into 10, over the jump, and Josh Klog pole position here in Atlanta. Marcos Palacio will transfer. Best of the rest looks like will be Gerald DeFino. Confirmation of those results. DeFino, Rakowski, and Stephen Moreau, the newcomer, to the semifinal here in Heat 1.
Good.
Heat number 2 on the grid. Cody Crosgrove, Josh Mertz, Matthew Grove, and Joseph DiGiacomo in the 55.
Good luck, everybody. 1 Joker.
2 Slaypex cars.
Good luck, everyone.
JC Simsport car and an 845 Subi car in Heat 2. Green flag. Off the line. Mertz and Crosgrove pretty even. Crosgrove comes across. Nearly contact between them into the first corner. Mertz leads. Cosgrove second, Grove third, DiGiacomo in the fourth spot. Over the jump for the first time. And it's going to be a question of if Matt Grove can hang with Cosgrove and Mertz. Much like last race, as like we had mentioned, Cosgrove and Mertz in this race faster than the rest, jokering as Mertz in the 1, and that's the second heat race in a row that the inside had the better run off the start. Cosgrove follows Mertz in the 18 as Grove and DiGiacomo in the fence in the 55. Grove holding best of the rest. At the end of the first lap, top two have jokered, and I think it'll be a matter of can Cody Cosgrove catch the defending champion? The first lap, 45.2 to a 46.3. It's going to be an interesting little race to watch these two. Grove, his first lap was a 56.6. Obviously, with the start, it's going to be a little longer, so we'll take a look and see. Grove jokers in the 472 immediately, so take the strategy out of it, and he's already gapped by a considerable margin over Mertz and Cosgrove. DiGiacomo still on the regular course. Off the final corner to begin the third lap here in heat number 2 at the line. 37.2 for Mertz, 37.4 for Cosgrove. And at the line for Grove, it was a joker, so 28.7 for him. Will get an accurate lap last lap. DiGiacomo struggling in the 55 in the back of the field. We're not missing anything as rounding the fishbowl. Cosgrove deep in that first sector. You get caught on the dirt, and it basically is like a road car at that point. You lose the rotation, and it's so critical. But you don't want to go too far in these cars, or the rally cars in general. It's a very fine line that these drivers are balancing. Final corner to take cross flags. Halfway home in heat number 2, Josh Mertz at the line at 37.595. Cosgrove 37.7. We get an accurate lap time for Grove in the 472. The man from Pennsylvania sets a 37.937. Cosgrove not letting Mertz run away, surprisingly. Or maybe is the one just saving his pace for the feature. Mind games being played either way you look at it. And Cosgrove comfortably in a feature ahead of his team owner Grove, as Grove leads the Sportsman Cup in supercars, much like his driver Cody Cosgrove did in supercars last season. 2 to go for Mertz, wide in the 1. He was down by 0.3 of a second that last lap, and Grove was a second and a half down on Cosgrove that last lap. Fishbowl again. Cosgrove gaining in the 18. It's beginning to rubber up. Remember, we don't get a track reset throughout the heat races. It's reset before the heats, the semifinal, and the feature. So we'll notice that this track's going to get faster and faster in the next couple of heat races. And we'll take another look at lap times as we cross to begin the white flag here in Hampton, Georgia in heat number 2. 37.7 to a 37.3. Another 0.4 of a second taken out from the 1, from the 18 to the 1, I should say. And Grove, 38.4. DiGiacomo crosses to begin his final lap. It was a 39.8 for the man from New York. Cosgrove gave him a run for his money, but I think the defending champion, final couple of corners, unless something happens, Cosgrove, deep on the brakes, and the defending champion will be in the middle on the front row here in Atlanta, winning heat number 2.
Good race, buddy.
Ahead of Cosgrove. Best of the rest, Matt Grove. Heat 3, Bryan Sawyer, Joey Morissette, Eric Dubois, and Jake Robichaux. Very quick gridding process for this third heat race in Atlanta. We'll figure out where Eric Dubois, where he's starting that position for the feature. Green flag. Sawyer off the line. Good jump over Morissette. Down to the first corner. No contact between them. Morissette hangs tough on the outside. Can't make it happen. Sawyer to the lead. Hits the wall in the 88. Morissette surges on the entry to the corner, but Sawyer blasts out of the corner exit to hold the lead as we begin the first lap. Jake Robichaux, Eric Dubois in the 69 and the 034 in third and fourth. Will we see jokers on the first lap? We will. Sawyer does. Morissette thought about it, but cut left. Dubois does not joker. Jake Robichaux does joker in the 69. So the man from Wisconsin, Bryan Sawyer, out front after Couple of bad races, down on points compared to his championship rivals. Looking to rebound tonight here in Atlanta. Completed the first lap. Robichaux second, Morissette and Dubois third and fourth. These two up front cannot joker. Will Morissette or Dubois joker? I think it's going to be a good battle for the transfer spot. Sawyer kind of stuck in no man's land with these smaller heats. Morissette jokers in the 85, comes out ahead of Jake Robichaux in the 69. So the JC Simsport car back to the transfer spot. And Dubois is the only car left to joker here in heat number 3. Sawyer sets a 37.6. Robichaux a 37.5. We'll look at Morissette's when he crosses on the regular course. And Eric Dubois will cross the line to end his second lap at a 37.7. Morissette blinking in the 85. To the inside goes Robichaux through the fishbowl, side by side. Plenty of room. Robichaux just a kiss on the inside wall, exiting the corner. Dubois does not joker. He was 2/10 down on Robichaux that last lap. Looks like Robichaux might be quicker than Morissette. We'll just have to wait and see 4 lap times. Crossed flags, halfway home in heat number 3 for Bryan Sawyer. 37.2, 37.9. It doesn't look like Robichaux's lap counted there. And we'll take a look at Dubois once he crosses the start-finish line. 38.1 for Dubois. Jake Robichaux pushing very hard with 2.5 laps to go, trying to catch up to Morissette for this transfer spot. Sawyer wide in the sweeper in the 88, testing the limits, I'd say, of the struggle bus car into the wall between 9 and 10. And once again, we'll take a look at everybody's updated lap time. 37.5, 37.5. No lap counted for Robichaux, and Dubois is going to cross the line. So 37.57 to a 37.52 for Morris at that last lap. Dubois 37.9. We still don't see a lap time for Jake Robichaux, so I don't know, will it be a battle for the transfer or will it be a battle for best of the rest? We'll just have to wait and see. Dubois is going to wait until the last lap in the 0.34 to joker. Rounding the final corner to take the white flag, Bryan Sawyer in the 88 from Wisconsin. Ahead of Joey Morissette from Kansas. Jake Robichaux in the 69, 38.0. He finally set a lap that counted. Morissette, 37.5, but Bryan Sawyer has just cracked the 36-second bracket. 36.957, that's the fastest lap so far tonight, I do believe. And Dubois has to joker in the 0.34, but hasn't been too late, and he misses the joker. Final corner for Bryan Sawyer. He will win the third heat race here in Atlanta. Transferring Joey Morissette as best of the rest. Jake Robichaux as Eric Dubois also joining him in the semifinal. Final heat of the evening. Magnus Okenhaug, Robbie Kirtley, Matthew Basset, and Olivier Rateau. Will the middle get another start, or will Magnus surge ahead? We'll take a look. 6 laps, joker once. Green flag. Kirtley does get a great jump compared to Magnus. Magnus is going to be battling Matthew Basset into the first corner. Basset runs it wide on the curb as Magnus, side by side through the first couple of corners. And to go over the jump for the first time, Kirtley and Magnus hit the wall. Basset landed nearly on Magnus. And Kirtley, car length and a half, ahead of the Norwegian, Olivier Rateau, in the 4th spot. 3 out of 4 heat races that the middle had a better start. So we'll just have to wait and see if that trend will continue into the semifinals. Magnus thought about it on the 0.24. Kirtley was all over the rear wing of that car, but nothing doing through the fishbowl and through the sweeper into the final couple of corners to end the first lap. Kirtley defensive in the 0.24. Magnus a car length behind over the jump. Crossing the line to end the first lap. Kirtley ahead of Magnus. Basset in the 2, clobbers the curb. And Olivier Rateau sits in the 4th spot. Will we see jokers? Kirtley does. Magnus follows him. Basset got a slowdown, and Rateau goes to 3rd. So Basset clears his slowdown. Joker's late. And Magnus has spun it in the 26. From the transfer spot, the Norwegian, we were taking a look at Basset recovering the car, and around Magnus went. So Kirtley No pressure from behind. Magnus is going to let Bassett through. So I think he might have had a slowdown from that, the cut that he had in the penultimate corner. Still all over the rear wing of Bassett. In the 2 is Magnus in the 26. Now, we're coming across flag. Still plenty of time for Magnus to make something happen. But he's a car length behind Matthew Bassett as Olivier Rateau takes the transfer as he jokered. Magnus to the inside, driver's left of Bassett. Over, under, on the 2, in the curbs, and over goes Magnus Okenhaug, the 26. So when it rains, it pours for the Norwegian. The bowling alley's open, according to Bryan Sawyer. And Olivier Rateau might have snuck his way into a feature race in the 63. Magnus is off the track. Bassett's half a lap behind him. We still have 2 laps to go, but if this holds together, Olivier Rateau will shock the field, and Magnus Okenhaug, who was 4th fastest in seating, will have to go to the semifinal. Big development, especially in the Teams Championship when TWR Struggle Bus and JC Simsport locked in that battle. Remember, 6 points between them in the Teams Championship. As currently showing great pace, actually, in the 0-24. When we take a look at him, his last lap was a 37.467. Like I mentioned earlier on, there's no track reset until after this race. So, heavily worn in, will gain pace, and that's a sign of it. White flag for Kirtley, the man from Virginia, ahead of the Frenchman Olivier Rateau, ahead of Matthew Bassett, and Magnus Okenhaug off the track. Kirtley in the fishbowl for the final time. Rateau exiting turn 4. And what we thought would be a simple heat is turning to be true, but it's not for the car that we thought. As Robbie Kirtley rounds the final corner, had a great start, and he will sneak his way into a feature here in Atlanta. Final couple of corners, along with Olivier Rateau, he's the one that truly snuck his way into a feature after Bassett and Magnus crashed in turn number 9. Magnus Okenhaug to the semifinal.
Wow.
Grid 4, semifinal A. Gerald DeFino, Jake Robichaux, Jess Rakowski, Eric Dubois. 4 cars, 5 laps, Joker lap once, and the winner transfers here in the first semifinal in Atlanta. Green flag. Off the line, DeFino gets a great jump compared to Robichaux. Contact nearly between Robichaux and Rakowski. Down to turn 1. Robichaux to the inside of DeFino into turn 2. Can't make anything happen. DeFino holds the lead. DeFino into the wall in the 845. Half a car length between them. Down to the first corner proper. DeFino, Robichaux, Rakowski, and Dubois. All these cars pretty equal on pace. This should be a great race in the semifinal. Robichaux follows DeFino. Rakowski does not joker. Dubois does not joker in the 0-34. Top 2 exit the dirt to complete the first lap. Car length and a half, maybe make it 2 between DeFino and Robichaux. DeFino very messy in the final couple of corners. He's continuing to hit those curbs as he ends the first lap in the lead. Ahead of Jake Robichaux for Slapex Racing, 845 Subi. These guys battling for 3rd and 4th in the Teams Championship. Rakowski for Sequential Sim Sport, a lone entry. And Eric Dubois with Robbie Kirtley. Those guys are on Zeem's setup shop. They are 5th in that Teams Championship. Dubois remembers to joker this time. He'll come out behind Robichaux in the 69. DeFino nearly dropped the right rear into the ditch, exiting the sweeper. So easy to do. No difference in time between them. No gap, I should say. Robichaux clips the wall on the landing of the jump. 38.2 to a 38.2 between the top 2. Those guys equal on lap times. Rakowski yet to joker. She begins lap 3 and crosses the line at a 38.3. So these guys and girl all equal on pace, and Robichaux's hungry in the 69. Looks to the inside of DeFino. DeFino left the door open in the 845. Rakowski exits the Joker in front of Dubois. Nearly contact. Wow. Between those two. And now all 4 cars under a blanket as the strategies are completed. And we come to 2 laps to go. The action-packed race, the first action-packed race, is the semifinal here in Atlanta. Defino, Robichaux, Rakowski. That running order has not changed. Robichaux, excuse me, ran the corner wide. Rakowski couldn't make anything happen with it. Into the sweeper. Into the fishbowl, I should say. Contact between Dubois and Rakowski. Door banging was Defino and Robichaux in the middle of the fishbowl. Now to the sweeper. And Rakowski still a couple car lengths back from these two. Car length and a half between Defino and Robichaux. Robichaux clips the curb this time. Rakowski drifts it. Final lap. White flag for Gerald Defino in the 845. Still anything can happen, like we've always said, and especially with these guys equal on pace. 38-2, 38-7 for Robichaux, 38-7 for Rakowski, 39-2 for Dubois. I think Defino might have done everything he needs to do. Robichaux's got the fishbowl here left, can't make it happen. Car length, make it 2 between them. Pulling in the sweeper is Defino. He's got 2 corners left. And both of these guys have been weak in the penultimate corner. Defino doesn't clip the curbs, nor does Robichaux, but Robichaux's going to run out of time. 9th seed in Atlanta will go to Gerald Defino as best of the rest. At the line, drag racing will be Jake Robichaux ahead of Jess Rakowski and Eric Dubois.
Good race, boy. No. Good job, man.
Semifinal B, Matthew Grove, Matthew Basset, Joseph DiGiacomo, and Magnus Okenhaug. 5 laps, Joker once, and the winner transfers to be the 10th seed. Green flag off the line. Even start from the top 3. Grove trying to pull Basset and DiGiacomo down to turn 1. DiGiacomo backs out of it. Basset backs out of it. Here comes Magnus to the inside of car number 2. Magnus trying to get the transfer on the curb on 2 wheels over the jump. Matthew Grove leads to begin the first lap. Magnus crashed in the heat race a few moments ago and looking to try and get this transfer spot. Following Grove into the Joker along with Basset. DiGiacomo does not Joker in the 55. And Magnus having terrible luck with strategy, clobbering the curb in turn 9, hitting the wall just barely with the 26. And Matthew Grove leads at the end of the first lap here in Hampton, Georgia in semifinal B. Magnus so much faster through turns 1, 2, and 3 into 4. Close the gap on Grove in the 472. All over the rear wing is the Norwegian on the man from Pennsylvania in the fishbowl on lap 2 to the inside. Magnus looked. Grove left the door open side by side. Grove powers out on the exit of the corner into the sweeper. Magnus looked left. He had this issue earlier. Looks driver's right. Can't make anything happen. Very hard to make passes unless you dive bomb someone in these final couple of corners. Already halfway, Bryan Sawyer tells Matthew Grove to buckle up as Magnus Okenhaug had the issue in the heat race. Matty Grove was 4/10 down on Magnus that last lap. Basset, if anything goes wrong. Grove into the wall on the 472. Magnus to the inside. He gets hooked by Grove and around the Norwegian goes in the 26. Here comes Matthew Basset in his first start in NASA Sim Racing to the outside of Grove through the sweeper. Grove's going to have 2 laps to go to potentially make this feature with damage on the 472. Magnus still close behind, but he's probably going to run out of time. 2 laps to go. 40.4, 39.3, 42.9. Obviously, incidents resulted in those lap times being a little skewed. Basset, car length from him to Grove in the lead, and Joseph DiGiacomo in the back of the field haven't missed anything there. Through the fishbowl once again for the penultimate time in semifinal B. I'm going to be interested to see the lap time between Grove, Basset, and Magnus, especially when Magnus gets upset. We'll just have to wait and see. On the curb, nearly thought he was going to hit the curb, was Magnus. Over the jump, white flag for Matthew Grove. Trying to get another Slapex car into the feature race to join Cody Crosgrove in the feature in just a couple moments. Magnus deep on the brakes in turn 4. He has to dispatch Basset and Grove into the fishbowl. Final time. Both of them leave the door wide open. Magnus to the inside. Basset's going to have the run off the corner. He'll hold the spot. Magnus looks driver's left now in the sweeper. So much better traction in the 26. Final couple of corners. Battling the 2 to try and get best of the rest because Matthew Grove is going to be our 10th and final seed here in Atlanta. Best of the rest, Magnus in the 26, Basset and Joseph DiGiacomo rounding out the field. Qualifying in Atlanta is over. The feature race coming up next.
I was not expecting.
You're so interesting.
I love your browser history.
I like that you're not hiding anything from me.
By the way, nice IP address. I like your neighborhood.
You are so special. This ad is just for you.
I learned so many things from you.
You are so generous with your personal data.
Switch on privacy, switch off trackers and viruses. Go to nordvpn.com. NordVPN. Safely be you.
Side nearly 3 wide of Matt and Palacio. Front bumper of Betty down to turn 2. Clog takes the lead. Will still has him jokered inside. Clog on McKenna. Contact between them. Well, Romain Rateau has led all evening long, but Schofield to the inside, and he makes it stick. Funny story about Bryan Sawyer. He showed up to the track 5 minutes ago with 0 practice, and each lap increasing in pace for the man from Wisconsin. Mertz deep on the brakes in the 812, clobbering the curve to get by Olivier Rateau. We welcome you back to round 9 of the championship overall and round 5 of the second season of NASA Rallycross Lites here in Atlanta with Bryan Sawyer in the production truck. My name is Josh Mertz, up in the commentary box for the Automotive Sports Network. Just a reminder, our cameras for the entire season are provided by TrackCams22.com, and our intro music was produced by our very own Alex Abetti. Grid for the feature on the front row: Josh Clog, Josh Mertz, and Bryan Sawyer. Robbie Kirtley, Marcos Palacio on the second row. Third row, Cody Crosgrove and Joey Morissette. And then it's Olivier Rateau, Gerald Defino, and Matty Grove was our 10th and final seed this evening here in Hampton, Georgia. These 10 cars over these 10 laps, 2 jokers. This turn 1 going to be absolutely crazy. Thanks for joining us on ASN as we get ready in Hampton, Georgia. Green flag off the line. Mertz gets a better jump in the first phase. Here comes Clog on the inside, the 199. Sawyer on the outside of them. Down to turn 1. Clog peeks his nose in. Side by side of the 2 Joshes, rounding the second corner. Mertz clears him. Still contact between them. Sawyer hits Clog. Clog hits Mertz over the jump. They're making contact as we begin the first first lap. There's massive contact in the back of the field as well. Sawyer to the inside hits Mertz, and both of them are going to cut the track. Trying to take a look. Marcos Palacio already out of the race. Mertz is trying to figure out what to do. He will joker on the first lap. That's going to be a track cut penalty. Morissette jokers as well. Cosgrove jokers as well. The struggle bus cars are out of this race. Sawyer and Palacio. Mertz is pulling over, and he's letting everybody by up to clog. I'm not sure what's happening here, but at the end of the first lap, Joey Morissette leads for JC Simsport. What happened on that first lap? We'll have to take a look for sure after this race. Cosgrove sits in second, third Clog, fourth Mertz, fifth Robbie Kirtley, sixth Gerald DeFino, seventh Grove, eighth Sawyer, ninth Palacio, and I think we're missing one more car. DeFino jokers in the 845. He comes out behind Mertz. Grove jokers gets ahead of Clog. And Cosgrove now leads in the 18. It looks like the strategy might be done for Mertz and for Cosgrove. So first and second on the road, Cosgrove and Mertz. DeFino has a joker left. Morissette has a joker left. Grove has a joker left. Clog takes his first joker. He comes out in front of Mertz. Exiting the pit line is Sawyer in the 88. Rounding the last couple of corners. Sawyer going to get in the way of these guys. So is Palacio. Palacio back on track in the 83. And Cosgrove takes lap number 4. Clog sits second. Third is Mertz. Fourth, DeFino. Fifth, Morissette. As remember, DeFino, Morissette, they do not have any jokers left. So the top three, their races are pretty much ran. And Morissette does not joker behind DeFino. Grove takes to the joker, so he will complete his strategy. He comes out in front of Morissette. Kirtley jokers in the 024, and Kirtley's got a joker left. So he might be able to pip Grove, Mertz, and maybe Clog as Cosgrove begins the fifth lap of the race. Morissette, DeFino still battling in the back of the field. What a crazy first lap we had here in Hampton, Georgia. And Cody Cosgrove leads on the road, the defending sportsman champion, ahead of the defending supercar champion, ahead of the defending lights champion. So all three reigning champions in NASA Rallycross out front, except now for Robbie Kirtley, who finishes his joker strategy, and he is ahead on the road of Cosgrove and Clog. Clog looks like he still has a joker left. So my mistake on that one. Halfway, crossed flags for Robbie Kirtley, the man from Virginia. In his first couple starts in NASA Rallycross Lites. Looking good for a podium finish if he's ahead of Cosgrove on the road and Mertz on the road. No joker for Clog. No joker for Grove. Grove strategy done. I think the only cars left, DeFino. Olivier Rateau has been minding his own business, but it looks like he had some issues there on the start. And Joey Morissette's got more damage on the rear of that car. 4 laps to go for Robbie Kirtley in the 024. Let's take a look at lap times just to compare. 37.9 for Kirtley, 37.2 for Cosgrove, 37.5 for Clog, and 37.5 for Mertz. So car number 1 might have to settle off the podium, but that crazy incident in the first lap, we'll just have to wait and see. And Olivier Rateau, it's saying that he hasn't completed his first lap yet. He's only on lap 2, so trying to figure out what's going on there. But Kirtley will take 3 to go in the 024. Cosgrove holds second. Palacio pressuring Cosgrove, but Palacio just getting track time in the 83. Clog 37.2 for the man from Maryland. He still has that last joker left, and Mertz trying to keep up 37.397 for the Irishman. As with the struggle bus cars not having a good day, Cosgrove might sneak into second in points unofficially. We'll just have to wait and see. And I'm super impressed with the drive that Robbie Kirtley's putting on in front of the 3 reigning champions in NASA Rallycross. 37.7. Palacio's going to let Clog and Mertz by, it looks like, as we take 2 laps to go for Robbie Kirtley. Back of the field has not changed. I don't think we're going to see a joker from Clog until the final lap. He's just gaining on everybody. 0.3 up on Mertz the last lap, 0.5 up on Kirtley, and Cosgrove's lap was not recorded. It's going to be the white flag for Robbie Kirtley in the 0.24. Snuck his way into the lead after the schmozzle on the first lap. Took his jokers midway through. I don't know if he'll be able to hold this lead because Clog still has to joker. The man from Maryland, defending Supercars champion, trying to get his second win in Lights to join Mertz and Palacio tied at first all-time in Lights wins to the joker in the 199. Easily to the race lead is the man from Maryland. He's going to pass Sawyer on the 88, or at least try to. Kirtley sits in second, third Cosgrove, fourth Mertz. Final corner, Josh Clog survives the chaos of lap 1 in Atlanta, and he wins, letting Bryan Sawyer get his lap back at the end. Robbie Kirtley with an impressive debut podium in NASA Rallycross, the man from Virginia. And Cody Cosgrove, third on the podium. Right off the podium, Mertz in car number 1.
Did you just let me get my lap back?
Good race, guys. This was a great first feature for me.
Thank you, everybody. Race over, and then it goes white flag. That's very fucking confused.
I, for some reason, thought I won that. Now I'm sad. But that was a good race.
Just post-race communication with everybody. Let's get a confirmation of these results. Josh Clog, Robbie Kirtley, Cody Cosgrove, Josh Mertz, Gerald DeFino, Matthew Grove, Joey Morissette, Bryan Sawyer, Marcos Palacio, and Olivier Rateau. Just a reminder, on the semifinal order, Jake Robichaux was 11th, Rakowski 13th, Dubois in 15th, Magnus 12th, Matthew Bisset 14th, 16th, Giacomo, and 17th, Stephen Moreau. Let's take a look and see what happened on the first lap here in Hampton, Georgia. A little bit of netcode going down into turn number 1 with Palacio Kirtley. Kirtley nudges Palacio. Palacio into Cosgrove, who spins him. Palacio keeps going after getting hit by Morissette. Morissette goes around the outside, and Palacio comes across, it looks like. Gets sent into a barrel roll by Morissette and flies out of the track. Meanwhile, as this was happening, coming off of the jump, Josh Clog bounces into Josh Mertz. They door bang down the entire straightaway going into the first corner. Mertz's entry's compromised. Sawyer sneaks to the inside, and they come together. Sawyer comes across the track and spears Gerald DeFino in the 845. Sawyer sitting in the middle of the track with a killed car. And despite all of that, with Cody Cosgrove being backwards on the first lap, he comes home in third, Mertz comes home in fourth, and Josh Clog, clean run to victory after the chaos on the first lap. The Drivers' Championship, exiting Atlanta, Josh Mertz, 13-point lead over Cody Cosgrove, who sneaks into the second spot in points. Palacio and Sawyer with some disappointing races this evening. They are third and fourth. And Josh Clog, with his second win of the season, sits in the fifth spot with 71. The Teams Championship, TWR Struggle Bus and JC Simsport tied at the top of the table. Technically speaking, if you go off a tiebreaker, JC Simsport would be leading based on the 2 wins against 1. As Slapex Racing in third with 170, just 10 points behind these two. So the top 3 teams in this championship certainly getting spicy, with 845 Subi on 78 points and Zeem's Setup Shop with 51. Couple programming notes before we say good evening here on the Automotive Sports Network. This Monday, the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge will cross halfway with round number 6 of the 28th season of the championship at the World Center of Racing, the Daytona International Speedway. You'll join myself, Bryan Sawyer, Philip Kraus, and Cody Erdman for that one, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ASN Live. Round 2 of the Woven by Toyota NASA Sports Car Challenge will be in Sebring, Florida. That'll be Thursday the 27th on ASN Live as well, 9 p.m. Eastern. You'll join myself, Justin Robichaux, and Bryan. Sawyer. And then Saturday, round 6 of NASA Rallycross Lites from the Daytona International Speedway, 9 p.m. Eastern on ASN On Demand. Just a reminder, our cameras for the entire season are provided by TrackCams22.com, and our intro music was produced by our very own Alex Abetti. The checkered flag falls on the evening. From all of us at the Automotive Sports Network, from Philip Kraus, Cody Erdman, and Bryan Sawyer, my name is Josh Mertz, as we hope you enjoyed today's coverage of NASA Rallycross Lites from Atlanta. Be sure to join us Monday for Supercars, but until then, so long, everyone.